Hey, Healing Family. So, today might be a little controversial. I want to talk a little bit about where is the balance between root cause functional medicine and limbic system retraining. And the reason I bring this up is, there's a lot of reasons here. And like I said, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to mess up anyone's practice if it's worked for them. But I do feel like we are seeing, as we do with most issues in society, right? We are seeing people getting very militant about brain retraining and limbic system healing, and that being the only thing that you need to do to heal. And I think in some ways that is where we end up with this negative connotation that brain retraining is kind of like medical gaslighting, because we don't want to become too binary in our concept of chronic illness, chronic pain, chronic issues with our health. And I think that the problem has become in an attempt to move away from the Western symptom-focused, treatment-focused, pharmaceutical-focused model, and finding limbic system feels so empowering, and so many of our symptoms are limbic system based, but it's human nature to then jump fully into, well, then this has to be the only way, and this is the only way. And I understand as well that a lot of brain retraining, limbic system retraining work has to focus on, we no longer talk about symptoms, we don't commiserate on things together, we leave these support groups, we try to change the people, places, and things that kept us caught in a cycle of illness. It's kind of like with the addiction treatment model from a mental health perspective. Working as a clinician for years, is when we had people in recovery from addictions, which has, right, that physical and then that mental component, we would say, change the people and places and things that you're around, change your cognitions, work on your goals. But I think that then we become too binary. We look at it as you're either doing limbic system healing and that's all you're doing and that's all you need and that's what cured me. And so if it's not working for you, you're not doing it right, which is kind of what I'm seeing in some of these limbic system communities, which is a little alarming to me. Or we feel like it has to be just a straight up symptom focused, Western medicine focused approach. I think that the true answer for most of us has to be somewhere in the middle. And I came up with an analogy that I think is going to explain my belief on it, and I think might resonate well for a lot of people. So my analogy on why we need the limbic system brain retraining piece, but maybe we also need, root cause diagnosis, treatment, and to still have some focus on that side of our medical, physical health, would be, say you have to paint your house. You really need to just sand it and do a full new coat of paint, and it's something you've been saving up for, and you're gonna do it, and it needs done. There's no questions asked. It's bad. The environment, as well as the problem that's physically right in front of you, are both equally important. So say the first time you paint your house, you don't sand it down first and you paint it. Well, that's not going to work, right? Because you didn't prepare the environment to be open and accepting and able to benefit from the fresh coat of paint. So that was a waste. Then finally you figure out, well, I have to sand it down first, and then you paint it, but the next day or that night there's a blizzard, and so it's freezing cold temperature and it's wet and the snow's coming down, so the paint doesn't stick, so it's ruined. Then again, you're just like, oh, this is so stupid. Okay, I guess I'll just wait for the summer. But you don't check the forecast, you paint the house, and that night it just pours down rain and the humidity's crazy and the paint doesn't stick. What I'm trying to get at here is sometimes there's a very obvious issue that needs physically to be addressed and changed, but if the environment is not conducive to the treatment, the solution, the physical change actually taking hold, then it's not going to work. But you need both conditions to be correct. So I'm looking at this the way we would look at treating something from both a limbic system and brain retraining perspective and a physical perspective. So if I'm going to paint my house, I might want to hire someone. I might want to make sure it's someone who's licensed and insured. I'm going to make sure that we're looking at a 10-day forecast and making sure that the day we pick to do this house Everything has been sanded ahead of time. That's one less thing to do. We make sure we don't need someone to take away the lead chips or whatever for safety. And we make sure that we're painting this house on a day that it is clear skies and sunny and no humidity and good temperature for at least the next 10 days, because we don't want to mess with the environment being conducive for all this time and energy and money we're spending on this thing. So I know it was a lengthy explanation about painting a house. Maybe that helped someone. But really what it comes down to is, let's take Lyme disease, for example. There definitely are people who are saying, oh my gosh, yeah, like I 100% healed from Lyme disease with only limbic system brain retraining. And maybe they did, right? Maybe for some people, the biggest factor in all of their symptoms was the nervous system being stuck in sympathetic mode, fight or flight mode, and the negative thoughts that had come up from years and years of having Lyme disease or mold toxicity, whatever. And by embarking in this brain retraining journey, it changed so many things for them that they are now healed. They don't have any symptoms. They feel a million times better. They're not having any relapses. This is great. But can it also be possible that brain retraining and limbic system knowledge could help someone get just so far, and then they have a relapse or they have a flare or some other symptom comes up, or it addresses like 6 out of 10 of their worst symptoms that were debilitating, so their life is drastically improved, no question. Just doing any of the brain retraining limbic system work is going to improve your symptoms regardless. It's going to improve quality of life. It's going to improve your outlook on your life. It's going to improve your relationships. It's really important work. But I don't think we should be villainizing or saying that's all you'll ever need, never get another treatment, give up all those herbs, give up all those other doctors you see. That can be dangerous, right? Because I think it's very possible, especially in the beginning, because it's such a drastic change all at once, that the limbic system healing, changing our thoughts, working on our cognitions, working on our routine can give us drastic healing, especially in the beginning. But there could still be root cause stuff underlying. And how I like to view it would be, I'm doing all these tools, so I am creating the perfect environment, the sunny day, low humidity, beautiful. It's not winter, it's not spring. It is a nice kind of autumn day that I could then theoretically have the perfect conditions to do some functional medicine or root cause or Western medicine treatments that before never quite took root. Or before my body was too chaotic, my nervous system was too frazzled, maybe those treatments wouldn't have worked before because my adrenaline was constantly pumping. I was full of cortisol. I was stressed out all the time. I never would have committed to actually doing the work that I needed to do because I was too stressed. So can it be that we could hold space that both could be necessary, and that we need to use our brain retraining tools? We need to balance our limbic system. We need to change our thoughts and behaviors to create the perfect healing environment. And at the same time, that we also may need to still address residual symptoms, residual pain, residual trauma, residual physicality-based issues in our biology and our genetics that either may never go away or might need more intensive help. So another example of this is I was talking to a dear friend with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome this week. You know, she's at that point where the brain retraining, the limbic system work has done amazing things for her quality of life. But she's also at the point where she is having to have real discussions about wear and tear on joints and arthritis and safety issues with her actual real limitations, and a physical therapy team stating, no, you really need to be using that cane and that brace because you could do irreversible damage. So it frustrates me that in some of these brain retraining groups, people are like, well, that means you're not trusting the process, or you're not supposed to talk about symptoms here. This is brain retraining. I mean, I've said this before, there is no such thing in this world as perfectly healthy, perfectly cured, because we are living in a world and in a body where we're always exposed to oxidative stress and the aging process, and things change. What we're working toward is moving towards health and towards vibrance and abundance. But that doesn't mean that we're not still going to age, or we're not going to still run into injuries or obstacles. How do we use our knowledge about our nervous system and the way that our brain works and neuroplasticity to make healing as accessible and possible as we can, but to also just have a good, healthy, positive mindset about how we can then use the interventions that medical providers are telling us to use, and that sometimes we might have to do a little bit more on our physical body in addition to the work that we're doing. So we're setting the stage for healing. So I don't know how many people really would take offense to that message, but I've just been seeing a troubling trend, right, on some of these forums or on different people's YouTubes or things where I don't think we should ever fall into this all or nothing thinking in any case in our world. And that's what a lot of us have this knee-jerk reaction to do. We feel like everything has to be, it's either this or it's that. And it's funny, I was just talking with someone the other day, we were kind of joking around about, there's always like the raw vegans and the carnivores. And it's like, whoa, like some people are very militant on both sides. And we started joking and we're like, well, what's actually the similarity between like raw vegan, carnivore, paleo people that go all into these diets, or, the specific carb diet or the gut brain diet, whatever. And we're like, it's actually kind of funny because they're more similar than different, right? So you're actually seeing people who are realizing that by narrowing down their diet to very specific foods that they're not reacting to, and cutting out processed foods and cutting out inflammatory foods, they're finding a sense of health and healing. I think that if you bring the limbic system science into this, then you start to realize you're creating a sense of safety in some ways. So of course you start to feel better. You feel like you have control on your environment, control on your body. But also maybe the problem is it becomes so ideological on, no, it's raw vegan that healed me, it's carnivore that healed me, I can never deviate. Rather than saying, did I just basically do an elimination diet and give my nervous system and my immune system and my histamine issues time to reset and respond? And it has to do more with, understanding deeper body chemistry, not getting tied into an ideology, to the point that maybe I can explore adding some different foods in now. If my goal is abundance and vibrance and living a full life, then maybe we realize, oh, we can start adding stuff in. Oh, I reacted to that, take that one back out. But why don't we use limbic system healing and the science behind it as a tool to make these other tools more effective and more efficient for us? So again, I guess my message of the day is just do not jump on the bandwagon of becoming ideological, angry, militant with these ideas. The idea of how we're really supposed to be using these tools is to form connection, to find safety, to find balance, to find contentment and peace within our bodies. And also, don't be afraid if you have a flare-up. Don't be afraid if there's residual symptoms and be like, oh, I must not be doing it right, I must be failing. No, that's okay. I mean, I'll tell you personally for myself, using brain retraining, using all of these tools to heal, I still have very real physical symptoms, right? Will I say that using the tools that I teach, has it maybe fixed like 60 to 70% of what were really, really horrible problems that affected me every day? Yeah, for sure. Does that still leave, on any given day, like 15 to 30 to 35% that sometimes is a symptom flare-up that really does impact me? Yeah, of course. Does that mean I'm failing? No, it means I'm human. And are the treatments that maybe I use now 10 times more effective when I need them to be, because I've already done 60% of the work? My limbic system is primed, my brain is primed to accept the healing interventions that come in, to dig enough to find the root cause, because we took away a lot of the confusion and fog that was limbic system symptoms, and moved those away. So now the root cause is more apparent. And before, if we were throwing different interventions and treatments at me and we weren't really sure what was sticking and what wasn't, was it because there was so much chaos and limbic system dysfunction and brain dysfunction? Now, when you're trying a new intervention, maybe we notice, does it work or does it not work much quicker? So it's convoluted. There's a lot here. I hope it was helpful. I hope I didn't make it more confusing. If anyone has any thoughts on this or insight, please let me know. I hope that we can maybe have deeper discussions on these topics. And I hope that you guys have an awesome week full of healing and love.